Happy Friday. So today we're going to take a look at my Friday reads, and welcome. My name's Linda, and this is Lilybugs Library. I'm going to turn up the sound because I forgot to do that before we started. There we go. Okay, so I read 4 books this week, which wasn't too bad. 5 if you include my book of the week. If you're looking for that video, I can leave the link to it below. So, the first one I read, I've been very into the Scottish bookshop mysteries. So I read, I believe it's the 3rd one I'm on now. So it's about Delaney Nichols, and she has moved from Kansas and is working in a bookshop in Edinburgh in Scotland. And so it's called The Cracked Spine, and she's doing really well there. She's gotten herself involved with the owner of the pub next door. She's made some friends, and she was friends with a couple of girls who were going to medical school at the local university. But then after a night at the pub, when a few things are kind of said that, leaves Delaney kind of wondering, it turns out that one of them ends up dead. So it's up to her to gather her friends and try to solve this mystery of what went on with this student and why anyone would want her dead. So it was good. I would probably give it a 3 stars. It was not something I'd probably remember a month from now, but I enjoyed it at the time. The next one I read was Wined and Dined in New Orleans, and it is the second in the vintage cookbook mysteries. And so this time it's hurricane season in New Orleans. And Ricky James Diaz is, trying to not freak out too much about that because this will be her first season of hurricanes. And so she's not really sure what to expect. And then the Bonvie where she works at the Culinary House Museum, they find a rare cases? I'm sure it was cases of wine, this rare wine that was buried under the house for years apparently. And all of a sudden things start to unravel. They know it's worth a lot of money, and people start to die. Some of the Charbonnet family comes out of the woodwork and, wants their cut of whatever money comes from this wine. It's kind of a hot mess. But in the meantime, Ricky is dealing with that. She's got a new intern that cares more about being on her phone than she does actually working. She's trying to navigate social media. She has a lot going on, but I thought it was a really good book. Really enjoyed it. Can't wait to read more in that series. I know the 4th one's coming out soon. We had talked about that in another video. So I'm doing my best to catch up before it comes out. So I would give that one a 4 stars. So the next one I read, I decided I was going to go back and I'm going to read all the Louise Penny books in order. I know that's a tall thing, but I'm trying. So I started with the first one. It's called Still Life, and it's the very first of the Inspector Gamache mysteries. So in this one, Inspector Gamache and his team end up in Three Pines, and he doesn't live there yet. So they end up there to solve the murder of an older lady who ended up being killed. And it's a lot because they're dealing with all the people in the village and secrets that happened, many years ago, and how they relate to who it was that was murdered. And in the meantime, Inspector Gamache is falling in love with this little village. So it's quite a story, and kind of interesting to see how it all started. So I would give that one a 4 out of 5 as well. And then the last one that I just finished was actually a prequel to a cozy fantasy series, which I've never read a cozy fantasy, I don't think, unless you would count maybe the Juno Black mysteries. I'm not sure if those would count as cozy fantasy or not. But anyway, this one was called Dragons and Dumplings. And so it was about Princess Evie, and she doesn't really care much for being a princess. She doesn't care about the fancy dresses and all of that, but she does like to cook. So she spends a lot of time in the castle kitchens cooking with the chef's son, who she knows that he's a very good friend. She knows that she gets, a few butterflies when she talks to him. At this point, she's still too young to realize what any of that means. And then one of the visiting delegates that comes gives her as a gift a dragon's egg, and the dragon ends up hatching. So that gives her something to think about as well. So it's a cute little story. It's not very long, and it's the beginning of a prequel to the Fallhaven Castle series. So she's going to try to teach this dragon to bake, and in the meantime, I think she's going to start falling in love with the baker's son. So again, this is the prequel, so as the stories go on, she gets a little older, and other things change, and it turns out to be a little romance in there as well. So I enjoyed it. I would say I would give it probably 3 stars as well. So not a lot of 5 stars this week, just that one, but still very enjoyable books, and I really liked reading them. Got a few more on the go now, including one that is an arc from NetGalley. We had talked about it a few days ago, and of course, am I going to remember the name without looking? No. The Marigold Cottage Murder Collective. So I'm listening to that one at the moment. So that's, like I said, something that's just coming out. So that is it for me. It's a nice long weekend here, and so I plan on enjoying as much of it as I can. And I hope whatever you're doing this weekend, you have a great time. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.